near you.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday night. How's everybody doing? Oop, that's me. I guess I'll say hi myself. Curtis, how we doing? How's things going? Hopefully everybody is doing well. And lots going on in the Bigfoot world, it seems, apparently. Chris, how we doing? Old Bear's in the house. Uh-oh. Now I'm under scrutiny. That's all right. Old Bear can chime in too, because I'm sure he knows about more of these Colorado Bigfoot than I do. So it should be quite the interesting show because lots going on. Not only are we going to talk a little Colorado Bigfoot, we're going to talk Michigan Bigfoot as well, and not just my stuff. We'll talk about everybody's stuff. We're an equal opportunity stuff talker around here. So hopefully everybody's having a good weekend. End of a very long week. You know, work is work. I love my job, but sometimes there's just times I would rather be talking Bigfoot, and tonight is definitely one of those. So Linda Thompson's in. Hi, Linda. And like I said, welcome. Colorado Bigfoot is the main topic. Just because I finally got to sit down, watch some of that footage, and I knew there was a reason why I was kind of putting it off. It looks vaguely familiar. And I don't know how many of you have had a chance to watch it yet. I'm always afraid of YouTube and copyright. So what I did was take some screenshots of it that we'll go over. I know screenshots from video are kind of horrible, but it's all I got to work with. And I found it on the Colorado Bigfoot Expeditions, you know, which that name should, or River Expeditions, pardon me, Colorado River Expeditions. That name will probably ring a bell with a certain video we'll also be talking about. But in the meantime, you know, people are filtering in, which is nice. It's good to see everybody and talk with everybody. Tomorrow night, it seems how Old Bear's in the house. I got to put this on Facebook. Yeah, I would be a guest on Old Bear show again. So it's been too long and looking very forward to it because I always look forward to Old Bear nice conversations. It's a chance for me to learn from a man who has a lot to offer. And at one point, you know, was contemplating stepping back a little bit, and I'm glad things worked out to where he didn't. And because he's being so naughty tonight, we have our co-host, yeah, Bear Bear, who's not being very cooperative, but he's too cute to get rid of. So, Colorado Bigfoot, you know, the quick seems to be the in thing to do is go with a quick AI overview. You know, I know personally, Colorado's a hot spot. It's always in the, you know, your top listings for the states with the Rocky Mountains and everything. Colorado's a state with history of reported Bigfoot sightings. There's even a museum souvenir shop dedicated to the subject in Bailey. One recent incident that we're going to talk about and seems to be capturing a lot of attention for some reason is a video on the Durango and Silverton narrow gauge railroad, which sparked debate about whether the figure was seen indeed Bigfoot. While some interpret the video as a potential hoax, others believe it to be a legitimate sighting. Citing the creature's camouflage-like appearance and the fact that several people on the train reportedly saw it. The Sasquatch Outpost in Bailey is a popular attraction for interested in Bigfoot, offering souvenirs at museums. So what I did not know was this is another apparently train video. So with that knowledge in mind, you know, it makes you wonder. I did, like I said, take some screenshots from it. It's hard to see, but we'll add it up here and show it off. They're, you know, this is a still shot from that video. And to me, I know all Bigfoot don't look alike. You do have your, what they call them, black goggle eyes there, where the eyes are real dark. But at the same time, I know Bigfoot are supposed to have a sagittal crest. That's what I'm thinking. Sagittal crest is one thing. Looking like Dan Aykroyd from the Coneheads is totally another thing. And not only that, if we look back, let's see here. We'll get rid of this one. If you look back to the original one about a year ago, almost a little over a year ago, to the train video. Oops, this is a close-up shot from that video. On the right is the regular footage with just the phone. The left is zoomed in. Again, to me, looks like the Conehead. And here is one from the train video from a year ago that was just about immediately. At first, it sparked a lot of hype, but then was pretty much the air was let out of that balloon in a hurry by several people. I know Old Bear was one of them up there. Squatch TV, they were one of the ones to really go public and poke a lot of holes in it. Hit the research with the fact that there is the Colorado expeditions that actually use the Sasquatch costume for part of their advertising. Old Bear's done a Bigfoot, never saw a Bigfoot with a mohawk. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, if I was able to pull it up, it just looks too much like Conehead. But I mean, Colorado does have a rich history. So, it could have been something worthy at some point. Let's see if I can find that picture. Because I did pull up a map of the Colorado sightings, and it seems like there's let's see if we can find that picture. Pictures. Nope. Anyway, from basically Colorado Springs area, which, surprising considering how populated it is, to basically up all through the Rocky Range on that. Not surprisingly, BFRO, according to their website, says there is only 131 total sightings. It's funny because I was reading up on the BFRO a little bit, because I do notice that their numbers are going down, because according to them, there are only 5,000 to 7,000 credible sightings, and yet they've gotten over 50,000 reports. Somewhere between 50,000 and 75,000, according to their own website. So for some reason, only less than 10% are actually credible in their eyes. Or maybe they're just kind of hiding it, and that's conjecture on my part before anybody sues me. But I'm sure it's behind a paywall or something, or they want to have limited access, be their own Men in Black police force. So, but I mean, there are some good stuff coming out of Colorado. The other ones that pop out of there, obviously the problem is if you get a lot of reports, at the same time, you're going to get some good stuff, but at the same time, you're going to get some real stinkers too. So, yeah, BFRO says there's only 100, but like I said, less than 10% are they actually deemed as credible. So there's probably closer to 1,000 or so at least in there. And so with the Rockies, excellent place. let's see. Now it's funny because now that I've actually searched this, more and more suggestions are popping up, like Outside Magazine's even saying, hey, you know what? That recent video is probably a little suspect to say the least. And by looking at these pictures with that great big nipple on his head, I would say as well. Grizzly Chris is in the house. We're poking holes in this Bigfoot footage. So Old Bear and I have Old Bear came to his own conclusion, but looking at this, it looks too familiar. It looks way too much like the still shot from the train video. Not saying it is, that's just my opinion. So, and apparently more and more opinions, the more you search it, the more people are also calling it a prank. You can hear in the video, it sounds kind of shaky. Roger, how are you? People's tone in the video sound just like, oh, we're part of this. Okay, let's do our part and get out of here. And so it's not really one of the better ones, unfortunately. So, but it does get attention onto the Bigfoot world. Is it attention we want? It depends who you are. Some people think any attention is good attention, but I don't think so, because it seems to make it that much harder for us to play. Makes it that much harder for credible evidence. Amy, how you doing? Old Bears and a Bigfoot. Looks like the costume I saw at the West Virginia Bigfoot Festival. Yeah, it just looks, it doesn't even look too good to be true. It looks too bad to be not to be fake. And unfortunately, even when you Google now, those are the ones that get the most press and it's bad. But at the same time, we can put a positive spin on it. Nice beard. Thank you. I'm going to have to start getting your product so we can get it nice and soft. But yeah, so the Colorado Bigfoot is probably a dud. Again, it draws speculation, but there is some bright spots as well in the same week, believe it or not. Amy was looking at too much UFO footage earlier. It's hard to discern. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, when you go from blurry lights to a blurry costume, I can see where that would be an issue. But on a more positive note, Monroe, Michigan, my home state, had their own Bigfoot sighting that people are actually saying is credible. And even a certain organization claimed it was credible, had a look at it, and one of the friends of the channel, Michigan's Bigfoot Report and Data, Val Zavala, was on the Rogue Agent YouTube channel. It's just started. They did an investigation with 2 other team members and said everything sounded good. Let's read that. So it is interesting. Because it was just this month. It was on May 25th, which, oddly enough, we get a really good encounter. And it's sort of an anniversary because 60 years ago, 1965, is when they started getting numerous reports in Monroe County of a gorilla-like creature interfering with people and scaring people, peeping in their windows. Several sightings, 15 at least, through August of 1965. So almost 60 years, coming up very soon. to when the Monroe Monster actually happened, where something reached inside and grabbed a young lady while they were driving down the road after they thought they hit something. And it reached in, grabbed her, and kind of tugged her toward the window and gave her a yank. Banged her head up. She had bruises and everything. Opers, I got some bear grease. It'll make your beard soft. I use it on my boots and beard. There we go. Hey, I almost try anything. Almost. In frustration, no more frisbees. I am done. Amy, I don't blame you. That's why sometimes when you're trying to find good, credible reports and you get some of these individuals, Griff, how you doing? And so anyway, so 60 years ago, we had the Monroe Monster. And now on May 18th, Monroe, Michigan organization has found that a father and son who reported seeing a Bigfoot in a marshy area of Monroe County are credible. Apparently there's a group called blah, blah, blah. The organization claims to be the only scientific organization exploring the Bigfoot Sasquatch mystery, hashtag bullcrap. Look, I wouldn't say I'm a believer in Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster or any of those, but I also haven't explored every corner of the earth. The report says a 47-year-old man and his 12-year-old son were both fishing at around 11:30 a.m. Sunday, May 18th, 2025, in the area of I-75 and La Piance Road in Monroe. It was a wooded area behind the Monroe inmate dormitory facility near a quarry. 100 yards in the marsh, the dog scared up something that was bedded there, the man said. Trees were shaking. We thought it was a group of deer. We continued 200 more yards on the creek basin in the marsh. Around that time, the man and his son heard sirens, so he stopped to pull out his earbuds and listen to the police scanner and app on his phone. All of a sudden, I heard a rushing in a tree to the left and a huge thud hitting the ground from the tree. A big animal hit the ground and crouched. Started moving towards me through the brush. My dog fired off and ran right off me toward the creature. The dog almost got it, but the creature shot off extremely fast through the trees and brush. Dog chased the creature up the slope and over the train tracks and then called for my dog to come back. 12-year-old said the creature was the size of a bear but looked like a gorilla with big butt cheeks. During a follow-up investigation, investigators said he found the man and his son to be credible. I asked many questions about what they saw and what the animal did. I asked enough to discern it was not a bear. It was a large, dark, furred primate. They ran up the slope. 2 legs looking like a gorilla from behind. Yep, that would be Bigfoot. Investigators said the creature jumped 10 feet up the tree, from 10 feet up the tree, but never faced the man in the sun. He said it ran up, hit the slope on 2 legs. Again, up the slope, 2 legs, was about 6 feet tall while hunched over. So definitely standing straight up, he would be much taller. Yeah, Amy, I said the same thing, but we're talking about 12-year-old who's not afraid to say anything to the newspaper. So Bigfoot got back. There are lots of cattails and marsh around there as well. The investigator out there for 2 things. Bigfoot costume, especially in water, cattails and deer. There are likely other food sources in the marsh as well. Investigator went on to explain why he believes this would be a suitable spot for Bigfoot. Of course, it's a suitable spot. They've had dozens and dozens of sightings over the course of 60 years in that area. Just Monroe. They even have a road called Mantell Road that they call Sasquatch Road or Sasquatch Alley, depending on who you talk to. And Maria, how we doing? Now, could this be a case of misidentification? 2 legs, hairy. Sounds like a young adult. I can't resist. I'm gonna have a little fun. Misidentification may be. Let's see, where's she at? I mean, Dark, big butt cheeks. Maybe Lizzo. No, not Lizzo. Lizzo lost weight. Lizzo's lost weight, so can't be Lizzo. But we do have a rapper in Michigan who actually got turned down because she was a little too thick to get into Uber. Lives in the Monroe area. Mystery solved. Anyway. So yeah. So that was the 18th. So we're 60 years of anniversary of. Notice how Maria, sorry. That's true, old bear. She can't run. She waddles. Oh, Maria's trying to get a reading again. Yeah, sorry, Maria. Maria is faithful. I see her in the chat every time I come in. So yeah, 60 years. We can even pull up that Monroe monster because over the course of that whole summer, there were dozens of sightings. The only thing, and people were actually to the point where they're taking up their own protection and forming groups and going out at night to end this possible threat during that summer of 65. And at some point, there must have been somebody having a few shenanigans. Well, here we go. Mr. Duffy 81. I'm in Colorado and I make Bigfoot rap songs. That's some of my channel. Go check it out. Go check Mr. Duffy's Bigfoot rap. Because if they're anything like the Bigfoot vlogs, I'm going to be in tears while listening to them. You see, I can run pretty well with my cane. Hey, whatever it takes. So, but yeah. So anyway, during the summer of 65, dozens of sightings, literally in the dozens. And after the Monroe Monster incident where the girl was grabbed, her name was, and her mom, so there were two people witness to this. We'll give you the overview. So you gotta love ChatGPT. It is definitely helps, even though a series of reports described as a creature unlike seen before. Eyewitness accounts include dark furred primate, possibly 6 feet when hunched over, resembling a gorilla from behind, running on two legs. Let's see. In the summer of 65, because it was crazy back then, they were saying it was 7 feet tall. And Charlotte Owens was the one who was grabbed a hold of and got a knot on her head and a shiner for her trouble because they apparently thought they hit a dog at first, slowed down, and then something was on top of the car and grabbed it. So that was in 65. So we're even pre Patterson Gimlin film when the things really took off. But the thing that threw the monkey wrench in for them all being credible was the fact that during that summer, so many sightings happened. And by the end of the summer, because people were out protecting themselves, there was at one point, I believe it was the end of August, let's see, there was a discarded gorilla suit found. So at some point, some boys were literally taking their life in their own hands. I say boys, some people, usually boys, because we're the little teens that like to cause the most trouble with physical comedy. What music does Bigfoot like? Probably all of it. If you think about, on a serious note, music-wise, anything they haven't heard before would be interesting, at least so they can see what causes it. And then also what a Native American instruments from back in the day, they would, be used to that and probably want to come see who it was. So some believe the Monroe monster was chased deeper into the woods due to the rise of people looking for it. So see, there were people that were taking up arms. There were people forming groups and going out, especially after the attack on Christine Owens. Christine was grabbed by the creature by the hair, which resulted in getting a black eye, and the monster was described as 7 feet tall, 400 pounds. So yeah, people who see that kind of thing and it attacks somebody, you can see why they would be forming hunting parties to go out and take care of it, and why apparently there were some humans that were finally smart enough to get rid of the gorilla suit before somebody took a piece of hole opening lead. Yeah, so it's kind of odd that we get a really good credible sighting 60 years later. McDuffie, I played a flute, even if I don't know how, and it threw rocks off a metal sign. Let me know they were down there, chucked rocks off trees, got it on video. Those are always good. Rock throwing ones get me because it takes hands, so it's one of two things: person or Bigfoot. Yeah, I mean, they want to, they're curious. Where's their reality TV? Yeah, Wes Germer, McDuffie, I've dedicated to Wes Germer. Yeah, his encounter on These Woods Were Haunted was quite disturbing, to say the least. Griff, check out Harry Man Road channel. It has an episode about a government-funded Bigfoot expedition with the receipts. That's interesting. So anybody who gets a chance, Harry Man Road channel, go check it out. Mr. Duffy, I've had rocks thrown. Yeah, that gets your attention when you get a rock, above a sign that you're taping a recorder to. So yeah, Monroe Monster, Bigfoot. So we're 50-50. We got one good one probably a hoax, probably. But we also have some stuff that happened to me as well. I'm going to jump around like I always do, folks. I do want to say tomorrow night I will be on Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot. Excited to be on there again. Look up to the man, consider him a friend. So it'll be fun to get on there and have him share some knowledge and share some chat. And then also Bigfoot input next week. So if you have pictures that you want me to put JMac on the spot and take a look at, I'm going to be doing that. So that is his specialty. If you have not checked out Bigfoot input yet, he goes live about once a month. He only does pictures of Bigfoot. He doesn't do tree structures. He doesn't do footprints or anything like that. It is pictures of Bigfoot. So, and he's not afraid to call spade a spade, Bigfoot a Bigfoot, or bunk bunk. So Yes, we are all Bear brothers. I never want to assume though, so I always just out of respect. McDuffie, Bigfoot Input has no patience. The guy blocked me right away for being active in chat. What? Uh-oh. Okay, we got to be nice next week, though, Mr. McDuffie. We went to the PA Bigfoot Project. This is Griff, by the way. They are out on location close to me this weekend. Heard some interesting stuff today about an area that I go to. He was afraid to communicate bad vibe from the guy. Huh. Well, we all have our hits and misses, so that's for sure. I've rubbed people the wrong way, believe it or not. You know, then I get people telling me I'm a big teddy bear. So multiple personalities, pick one depending on the day it is. Holly, yes, Holly has some good pictures from Smoky Mountains, I believe, where she had her encounter she's talked about on this channel, where she's got one where it literally looks like the Bigfoot's got his hand on the face and giving her the finger. Not at the first peace sign either. But Duffy, so did this fishing guy that's live right now having a Bigfoot show. I was talking in the chat about Bigfoot, and he put me in the timeout right away without even talking to me. Apparently, the truth can be overwhelming. Truth can be overwhelming. I mean, it was so overwhelming that because I took a bunch of grief over a paranormal experience that I was quiet for over 30 years about my first Bigfoot experience. So the truth can be very, very overwhelming. Griff heard about a white Bigfoot sighting back in 70 south of me. White ones are good ones. As a matter of fact, for those of you who didn't see the show Wednesday night, Grizzly had me co-piloting with Mike, and his sister Becky came on and was talking about her first experience. And hers was actually must have been a very young one because she said it was only about 4 feet tall, white one. So, you know, if you're going to make up a Bigfoot sighting, like Mike said, it's going to be big, it's going to be black, it's not going to be short, it's not going to be white. Tuffy filled one in 2017. What's in New Hampshire near Massachusetts border? That's awesome. Ultim's Bigfoot, show me the channel. Here we go. We're hooking up, chat. This is what this is all about. That's why I like interacting with chat. We get everybody's stuff out, including stuff from last weekend that I found. Now, keep in mind, folks, when I go out, I'm not saying stuff happens every weekend. I just happen to find some stuff. It's not like every weekend there's activity. Just maybe I missed something for the last 6 months and finding it. You know, Linda has a hand in that most of the time as well. She spots more tracks that I step over and step on. So, but like we have here, you can see where the leaves are all torn up and everything. And then next to it, and there were some large prints out there, bigger than mine, size 15. Then we also had this tree thing that definitely wasn't there. This one was kind of blocking part of the trail that we normally walk. So I think it's going to be a very good year. Next, I'm sending some of these pictures before Mr. J Mac next week. So we'll see more then. But McDuffie, if you got something, hey, send it my way. Send it Old Bear's way. You know, this is what this show is about, is just sharing without judgment. Unless it's blatant, then I'll give my opinion, but I'm not judging anybody. You know, like the Conehead in the Colorado video. McDuffie, I love the close-up face with the white Bigfoot that was filmed at night. Yeah, Pennsylvania Bigfoot. I do remember that. And then the way that once it hit, if we're talking about the same one, McDuffie, you'll have to let me know. But it seemed to me he was going out checking with the flashlight, and then as soon as he hits the flashlight on the face, which I can tell you they don't like the light, I've done it myself, hit him in the face with a bright light. That one, he was lucky just squinted, crunched his face up real tight, and then took off. But with the technology, you definitely would not get a Priscilla didn't know there were white ones. Interesting. Yeah, there's white ones, blonde ones, red ones. White, blonde ones with blue eyes. So just like people, there's all kinds of different shades, sizes, attitudes, musculature. Are they albinos? I don't think there probably are albinos. Most of them that people talk about, those seem to be still have the dark eyes or blue eyes. Albinos, it would be, all pink. Duffy, I'm waiting for the right person to talk to. I'm pretty involved right now. I've been feeding one. Oh, now you're going to hear it from Old Bear. This is where you're going to hear what happens when you feed him. Trust me. Students, how we got Old Bear in the audience. I will tell just with the feeding aspect of it. A brief summary of Old Bear's opinion when I joined the chat one day, and I had heard of Old Bear. It was on Grizzly's channel. I believe it was Shaking the Cage, Rattling the Bones. And the fact I jumped in chat and the fact of me feeding peanut butter was brought up. And I literally felt like Old Bear was staring right into the camera. And he said something to the effect of, if you are one of those people who are feeding them or screwing peanut butters to the tree, you are part of the problem. And you should be taken out into the woods where I will do a Bigfoot growl. You will have no equipment, no lights, and we will see if you make it out. And if you do, we'll try it again. So that was my first introduction to Old Bear's opinions on habituating and feeding them. But, 6 months later, no, I had quit feeding them by then. But yeah, he was right. There are consequences for it. My people got off pretty light compared to what some have. Yeah, McDuffie, you're going to have issues if something happens. Trust me, if you get sick and you stop, things could escalate. Haha, I'm playing Bigfoot rap. McDuffie, they're coming to my house. They're on my terms. No, they're not. I'm going to argue that point. You are on their terms, whether it's your house or not. You are feeding them. It is their game at this point. I'm not out in their backyard. It's going to be a different story. No, they're going to consider it their yard. And, and unfortunately, consequences could be severe for one or both of parties involved. So hopefully, I'm looking ahead in the chat and I'm seeing where you're saying they're running from you, but that's at the moment. It takes one moment for a good Bigfoot to have a bad day and make a bad day for a good person. Rebecca says, Brian, do not feed the bears. Exactly. That's what the DNR tell you they are. Bears with 23-inch footprints that throw rocks, clap, and growl. Open the jars with the hands, or open the jars and screw the lids back on. Actually peel the tinfoil off in one piece. It's just the bears. Yeah, they run from me. So, McDuffie, they have only broken little things of mine that I've left out. I think it's only juvenile. I saw it. If there's a juvenile, there's parents. So, Blue-Eyed Northern. Speaking of people with good stuff, check out Blue-Eyed Northern's dog woman footage. That is, to me, the just about PG film status for Big World is dog woman footage on thermal. Oh, there's been a Bigfoot. Can you put in touch with the lady in Indiana that was feeding? She got sick and didn't feed for a month. She had to shoot in the air over its head to get it to leave. Was that the one that got slapped in the bathtub over there? I remember she was feeding him like a milk or something, dessert type thing. And then she wound up getting cuffed because it wasn't the right temperature or something. But yeah, the fact that it's your yard is better than what I was doing. I was doing it on conservation land. At first, what I thought was conservation land was also an old map. It actually turned out to be private property. So not only was I in trouble with the owners while I was doing it, but I was in trouble with the Bigfoot when I quit doing it, and then I was in trouble with the DNR for what the Bigfoot did after I quit doing it. Duffy, I hope it doesn't try to off me. I don't know about that. Not in my opinion. Harass you? Absolutely. Could. Could. Okay, could. Let's go with could. Slaps on the house, stuff getting broke, stuff missing, uh, stuff being thrown at you. All possible aspects of saying, hey, where's our peanut butter cups? And don't be getting us that crunchy crap. We want the smooth and the big kings. Oh, there's Bigfoot, tossed metal tub at the back door, cracked the frame. There we go. I remember it was something like that. So yeah, you know, I I've kept my promise. I have not, and other, it's funny because I promised not to feed those things, right? Because of what happened. Yeah, I have so many people who say, well, just don't use the peanut butter jars. Use something that's environmental friendly and use waffle cones and peanut butter. So, but kids playing around Amy's WC, yeah, that's. I was a teenager. I remember the stupid stuff I did. So imagine you're a Bigfoot and you don't even have half the amenities we do, but you got probably the same level of intelligence. Yeah, you're gonna find something to do. And it was just like, who was I listening to? Oh, Barb Hartman on another channel where apparently some juveniles were creating havoc, and then all of a sudden, a week later, hear the adult, and then all of a sudden the juvenile activity stops. So the old man will put things in perspective for the young adults. A friend of mine had juveniles at his place down in southern Michigan being, they were out just screaming away, and he's got recorders that had, over the course of 2 hours, a lot of screams on it. And then all of a sudden he finally had enough. Literally yells out the door, hey, shut up. And then all of a sudden he heard a very deep, you know, much bigger growl come from the woods. And then all the little activity stopped. So even Dad had had enough at that point. Rebecca and Brian was in trouble with his woman for putting it on the charge card. Yeah. I'm in trouble for the Bigfoot turd in the freezer. That's the only thing I'm still in trouble for. Knowing now that I've had it in there all these years, and now it's to find out that there's probably no DNA usable in it because I put it in plastic. That's a hard pill to swallow. And now that I've had it going on 3 years, it's almost like the sweet nose become like a family heirloom or something. I can't, I don't have the heart to get rid of it. So maybe that will be in my last will and testament for I doubt anybody's going to be fighting over it. The kid will probably wind up with it in a box they deliver to Austin. Judge Judy Bigfoot Court. Amy, that's funny you say that because I actually tried to think of a way to get a couple people on here and then go through evidence or encounters and argue it like a court and then see what we can get people, have a for and an against, and then have like 3 or 4 people as a jury and see if we can convince people to get rid of that. To convince people that one way or the other. So I thought that would be a fun thing to do. I heard it doing an imitation of a cat, like a wounded animal on a really windy night, really close to the house. It turned into like a human moan. They do mimic, and if it was like a wounded cat or animal, maybe they're trying to lure you out. That was the day after I left it, a rabbit and a bobcat dropped. I got it. That was the first time I fed it meat or let it get meat for me. Now I'm sticking, well, I can't do it anymore, but Judy be holding me in contempt. Yeah, exactly. Who's it? Not Judge Judy. Who's the new one on People's Court? She seems like a little firecracker. Brian's channel. We are on Brian's channel, Duffy. Oh, right now? Gotcha. No, tomorrow night will be Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot, so. Griff, LOL, I'll give the Bigfoot for turd too. Exactly. In this week's drawing, Brian has passed. The winner of the Sweet and Low box is number 37. Come get your prize. Linda Thompson, because I don't have big feet. The Hairy People's Court. Now we got it. We got a title. Now we're going to have to get participants. I mean, Old Bear would be like the perfect judge. Keep everybody in line. Maybe we can free Mr. Grizzly up being former law enforcement for one side, and Lenny's an attorney. We'll get this sorted out, and then we just got to pick an impartial jury. Same thing as the original People's Court. Yeah. Speaking of People's Court, I was surprised at how many celebrities have actually been on there. It makes me wonder how real that is. I mean, China was on there at one point suing for like a $2,000 dog or something before she passed away. Who I know, then Old Bear, Bud, and Angie were with us when we caught the thermal footage. Oh yeah, Old Bear. If you haven't seen that footage, go check it out. I was lucky enough to see it. I've seen her interview, and it's amazing. No D1 coming out, please. Old Bear doesn't want to be in the drawing for the turd. That's all right. It's not everybody's cup of tea. But yeah, repeating. Tomorrow night, I'll be on Old Bear's channel. Let's see what we'll be chatting about. It will be fun no matter what. And next week, Bigfoot input. If you have pictures you want, send them to me. You can either look me up on Facebook. I am paying more attention to the YouTube channel now, and going to start doing a little bit on Rumble as well, because there is stuff I want to say, but at the same time, I can't say it on this channel because I don't want to jeopardize, all the bonuses and things like that. It's not my platform to do that. So I do know on Rumble there'll be a lot more heat exchanged both ways, which in some days, some days you're just looking for an argument, and Rumble is just the place to go to get in one that is probably just completely pointless and meaningless and will not solve anything but let you blow off steam. Tea, I thought it turns into hot chocolate. It could. No trail instructor coming out. McDuffie, YouTube got hijacked by Google. Now it's everybody's mouth. Nobody speaks the truth. Yeah, on that. And there are other apps now that even for saying YouTube and Facebook will mess with your videos if you mention other apps too much. It's amazing what people do. Rumblers, and I'm working on learning how to do that, Griff. So I'm learning how to try to do the same video at the same time, but Isaac Butterfield does this really well where he's doing the YouTube video and then goes, if you want to hear the rest, go to Rumble for this, and then blurs it out and cuts it short, and then okay, back to YouTube. So make earrings and jewelry. That's what they do with moose poop. Oh man, a great big heart nugget right under your neck, you know. Nothing like Bigfoot scat in both ears. Mr. Duffy, that's what I want to talk about in the Bigfoot world. I have tons of experience, probably in the hundreds. Wow. But do I care about telling them? No, I want to talk about and cooperate. Take over Bigfoot culture. Bigfoot Society wants me to come on and tell her about my experiences in the Massachusetts border, but he blocked my channels and doesn't allow me to speak on platform on YouTube. Stir in the pot. Ober's done a Bigfoot, moving to Rumble. I'm gonna do both. That way, you know, can say, but other times put it out there. And like I said, other times just looking for an argument. I'm too old to arm wrestle anymore, so you know, verbal confrontations is as big as we're gonna get. You know, the last it's been a long time since I've had a major loss in a physical altercation, so I know I'm way overdue. Doesn't settle right, you got to re-agitate it. Yeah. So anyway, we'll be getting out. Hopefully, it's supposed to be in the 90s this weekend here, and so getting out in the woods during the day might be. Bear has been testing myself. Yeah, I mean, when you can say what you really want to sometimes, just let her out. Amy, I could win an arm wrestling match with you. You could. That's what I mean. I'm old. You know, I look big. Doesn't mean I'm that big. So the verbal stuff is more fun now. Not necessarily fun, but as far as just being able to have an open conversation before it turns into insults. Because at that point, once it turns into insults, it means whoever started with the personal text has run out of reasoning. So at that point, you know, and if it's you, you know you lost the argument, so now you're going personal. Decent people don't do that. They just say, okay, I give it some thought and move on with their day. So, and speaking of moving on with our day, we're coming up on that hour mark now. And so we are going to call it a night, folks. Myself, my bear are going to find the right thing. And we're going to hit the hay early tonight. Hopefully get out in the woods tomorrow before it gets too hot. See, because allegedly someone's been leaving little blue stones out there wanting to see if things have been moved around. So allegedly, hopefully something has happened and that person can allegedly talk about it next week. So Old Bear's Dinner Bigfoot. See you tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow. So if you want to see this mug again, check Old Bear and I out, the two handsome devils of the Bigfoot world, on one channel at one time, folks. Imagine that. Holly loves Bear. Duffy. Okay. Everyone, have yourselves a great night. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for the engagement. It's always more fun when we can sit there and chat back and forth. Yeah, I lose track of where I'm at, you know, topic wise. Like we were all over with Colorado and Monroe County. But at the same time, the show is for you guys and gals. And so it means a lot that you took the time out of your day to come spend with me and chat for an hour. So I want to make sure that we do have that chat and we do have that interaction. We do have that personal connection, because to me, that's what it's about. That's why I don't care about monetization and everything else for myself. I'm just happy to be able to get on and meet good people in a great environment with the Bigfoot Outlaw family, and getting the privilege on this and Midnight Lycanthropy to interact with everyone. So I love you all. Peace to all. Prayers for you all for a good night. And from coast to coast and around.
It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No. We're gonna watch and listen.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, shit, should we run?
No.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, should we run?
Okay. It's a grizzly.
Are you sure it's not a chipmunk? Action. No, I'm out of here. Action.
It's a grizzly.
I'm out of here.
Huh. Maybe it is a chipmunk. It's a grizzly.
Are we gonna die?
I don't know. We're just gonna sit here and listen and watch.
Let's get out of here, maybe.
Fall!